Hey there, I'm team behavior expert Josh Shipp. Here's a question that I got via email from an actual parent. They said to me, I've noticed that my kid is covering certain areas of their body for me, and I think they might be harming or cutting themselves. What are the signs I need to look for with self-harm, and what are the steps that I need to take to be a responsible parent? Now, this is obviously an important question, so let me dive right in to answer this question and some important information regarding this. First thing you want to do is you want to watch and look for cuts or scars. Cutters typically have scars on their body, and most of the time these are slashes across their arm. The direction of the slash would be in the same direction typically as a watch band, but it's not always on the arms. Many cutters also cut on their legs, so you need to look for these scars and pay attention to that. Second thing is, it's important to understand what cutting is. Cutting is actually an addiction. Cutting releases endorphins in the brain, causing a euphoric high, similar to what runners call a runner's high. The challenge is that it only lasts about 90 to 120 seconds. And then the guilt and shame come like a tidal wave. So the young person cuts again in order to feel that high, those endorphins. Now, a lot of people think that cutters are trying to kill themselves. Now, this is not always true. Often, actually, they're trying to survive. Cutting is a coping mechanism that they've developed. Cutting transfers the genuine emotional pain that they have into physical pain and provides a sense of control. As the blood bubbles up, they are releasing sort of the steam of their anger and their pain. Third thing to pay attention to is, who are your kids' friends? If you noticed any of their friends have scars or are cutting, that's a pretty big warning sign. Here's what we know. Cutters get other people to cut. Just like addicts don't like to hang out with sober people, cutters don't like to hang out with people who don't cut. So if your kid is hanging out with people who are cutting, it's important that you have a compassionate conversation with your kid as soon as possible. A fourth piece of advice here. I want you to watch for eating disorders. Because cutting is a disorder under the umbrella of self-injury, you might also see the signs related to self-injury behavior such as anorexia or bulimia. The internal negative self-talk is so seductive here that it warps their body image and how they view themselves. If your teen isn't eating or losing weight rapidly, that could be a big red flag that your kid is hurting themselves. So you've got to keep your eyes open for that. So now that we've talked about some of the possible warning signs, here's what you as a parent can do to help your kid. First of all, don't overreact, all right? Your kid is not crazy and most likely not suicidal. The problem is their coping mechanism comes with too many down signs. Secondly, ask your kid in a caring way, straight up, are you cutting? And use that exact language. Don't say, are you engaging? Don't say something like, are you engaging in self-injury behavior or something weird like that. Just be direct with them and say, are you cutting? You'll know in a flash, as a parent, based on their reaction, whether they are or whether they're not. As parents, we know when we hit a nerve with our own kids. So ask your kid flat out, what is hurting you emotionally? Remember, cutting is a release of emotional pain, so it's important to get to the bottom of and discover what that root cause is. This is really important. Get therapy. One of the most effective treatments for cutting is professional therapy. What you don't talk out, you act out. Look, this is an internal emotional pain that they're trying to deal with, sort through, and get out. They need someone, a professional, to help them process and talk about the pain that they're experiencing and to find another mechanism for dealing with it. So find a therapist in your local community who specializes in dealing with young people and this type of behavior. The bottom line is you need to help them find something to replace the cutting and for them to be able to appropriately deal with their emotions. And I would encourage you as a parent to join them in this long process of learning new coping skills when emotional pains and challenges and circumstances become too much to deal with or to bear. I know this is a difficult, sensitive topic, and as a parent it can seem overwhelming, but realize you don't have to do this alone. There are local caring professionals in your community who can help both you and your teen process this issue. Good luck to you.